the much anticipated series drop has been announced. Let's go ahead and take a look at which cards are dropping, which cards are staying the same, and which cards I wish were dropping. Before we get into the series drops, if you're new here, I love Marvel, I love gaming, and Marvel Snap is a perfect marriage of those two things. So if you share my same passion, thank you for being here. Let's get into the drops. Okay, so over here we have the Marvel Snap Discord server where a lot of the updates get posted, or I should say all of the updates get posted, as far as series drops, as far as game updates, patches, balances, all that good stuff. I imagine if you're here watching this video, you already know about the Discord, so I'm not going to dive too much into it. But here we go. The series drops will arrive on March 4th, so be expecting that. So here are the drops. We got Series 3, dropping to Series 3, we have Null, Zabu, MODOK, Nimrod, Ghost Spider, Nebula, Silk, Spider-Ham, Lady Deathstrike, Mobius, Havoc, Selene, and Hercules. To Series 4, we have Loki, Blob, Sebastian Shaw, Elsa, Miss Marvel, Werewolf by Night, Scar, Black Knight, Corvus Glaive, Full Obsidian, Cannonball, and Annihilus. Overall, I think the Series 3 drops are fine. These are all cards that I probably would have dropped as well. I'm not going to go ahead and go into if I think more Series 4 should be dropped to Series 3. I think this is a fine list. I'm not complaining too much on the Series 3 drops. Now, Series 4, I think there are definitely more cards that could have been added into this list and also have been dropped to Series 4. I'll go ahead and get into that here in just a second. All right, next up, I'm going to go over the cards, what I think should have been dropped when it comes to Series 5, dropping to Series 4. I think, like I said, the Series 3 is fine. Series 4 is where I have a little bit of issues. So here we have pulled up Marvel Snap Zone, just to have all the cards listed in a very easy to understand, easy to digest manner. So the Series 4 cards, the only Series 4 cards that I don't currently have are Havoc, Selene, and Phoenix Force. Havoc and Selene are being dropped to Series 3, so those will be easy acquisitions for me. The only card I then won't have in Series 4 will be Phoenix Force. Like I said, I think the rest of the Series 4 cards are fine. Obviously, a lot of these are dropping, but I think the rest of them that aren't dropping are fine, and they are able to stand as is. Where a little bit of the issues come in is Series 5. So here we have pulled up obviously the list of Series 5 cards. I'm going to go row by row and kind of say which cards I think should have dropped and which cards I think are fine as is. So right here in this top row, I think most of the cards are fine except for maybe two cards. Baron Zemo, he should be dropped. He should have been dropped to Series 4. He's been out for long enough. I know he's in mill packages, and mill is very annoying, so making him more easily acquirable could be a little bit of an issue. But I think he's been out long enough to where he should be dropped to Series 4. The next card would be Aranya. I think she's relatively recent as far as when she came out. However, she's not used very much. The only place she's really used is in move packages. And even then, she's sometimes, if you don't draw her, she's not a very good card. So I think Aranya would be a worthy candidate to drop to Series 4 as well. Moving on to the next row, I think the only card here that I would really consider dropping to Series 4 would be Kyra, simply because she's been out for so long, and obviously everyone knows what she does. She just protects your 1 and 6 cost cards. So I think she could have been dropped to 4, given that she's been out for so long, like I said. She's an okay card. You have to have her. Most people run her in High Evo or Thanos-based decks just to protect their stones. So Kyra should have been dropped to Series 4. The only other card I would consider is Bruce Banner, and simply because he's just not very good. He's only used in High Evo-based decks for the most part, or people that are just kind of trolling around. And having a 25% chance to Hulk out, it works out sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't work out in my experience. So I think Bruce Banner is a worthy contestant to drop to Series 4. I think the next row is okay. Cole Obsidian is already dropping to 4. Corvus Glaive is already dropping to 4. Elsa's already dropping to 4. So the rest of this row is pretty much fine. Frigga's good enough, and she's relatively recent, so I think she's worthy to stay at 5. Copycat as well. She's good. I don't see why they would drop her. She's fine. Everything else, A-okay with me. The next row, I think a couple things should be dropped here. High Evo first. He's been out for a long time. Everyone knows what he does. I think having him still be worth 6k tokens is just not really worth it. High Evo can be a good shell, but I think, is it worth Series 5? Is it worth 6K tokens? Not necessarily in my opinion. Emperor Hulkling would be my next contestant. I think he just doesn't do enough. It's an interesting text. I think the card has an interesting design, but it's just not good enough to be Series 5 in my opinion. So I think he would have also been a worthy candidate to drop to Series 4. Now the big one that I would have dropped to Series 4 is Jeff. Simply because he's just been out for so long and he's been Series 5 for so long. And I do think people would still pay 6K tokens for him, which is probably why they're keeping him at Series 5. But he's been out for so long, and I think he should have been dropped to Series 4. So a little bit disappointed by that. The next row, I think the only one that I would really consider dropping here is Kang. And Kang should be just deleted from the game. I don't know why he's still even in the game. Even reworked for that matter. Just rework him. He's just not. I like the text because it fits with the character. It fits with Kang, but it's just not good enough to use a spot in your deck. Decks are already tight as it is, so having something like Kang in there is just it's not worth it. Other than Kang, I think this row is mostly okay. Akari could be dropped, but I think it could go either way. I think she could go either way. I could go with her being dropped, but I also can see why they wouldn't drop her quite yet. Now the next row, obviously Miss Marvel is already being dropped. Otherwise, I think the only other ones I would drop in this row are Namora. She's okay. She's only really works in isolated decks, and I think she's been out for long enough. I know she's kind of in that weird spot where she's not old, but she's also not new. But I just think simply because she's not used very much, she could be worthy of being dropped. Now I know Nico is very, very good, which is why they're not dropping her. People are still going to spend 6K tokens on her regardless. But I think she's been out long enough where she could get dropped. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. I wish they would have. I mean, I already have her, so it doesn't bother me too much. But for the people that don't have her, I think she should have been dropped just because she's been out for so long. And the next row, honestly, I don't think I would drop anything in this next row. Shaw is obviously already being dropped, so other than him, the rest of these cards are pretty good. I think Scarlet Spider would be the only other one that I would maybe drop, just because he's not used very much. He's not necessarily an amazing card. He can be in certain isolated cases, but for the most part, he's just kind of mid. We also have cards like Red Guardian and Red Hulk, which are really, really good cards, especially Red Guardian. He's a good tech piece. He should be staying Series 5. There's no reason for him to drop. But otherwise, yeah, I don't have really any other gripes with the cards here. Moving on to the next row, I think the only card that I think I would consider dropping here would be Cersei, simply because she's just not used very much. I know she came out with the Eternal Season, of course. She relies on high rolls a lot. If you low roll, it could be a really bad card. I like the idea of it, interesting design, but I think she's just not good enough to be Series 5 right now. Thena, I think Thena, I trust me, I know why they're not dropping her. She's way too good, and people are obviously going to keep spending 6K tokens on her even still, so I can totally see why they did not drop her. I was personally hoping they would, just because I don't have Thena yet, and I just obviously want to save as many tokens as I can. I do have her pinned right now in the shop, so I'm gonna go ahead and go buy her. Since they're not dropping her, I wanted to wait to see if she was gonna be dropped, but that was stupid of me to think that they would actually drop Thena. All right, and then here in the last row, we have Toxin, US Agent, Victoria Hand, War Machine, Werewolf by Night, White Widow, and Wiccan. I think the only other cards that I would have dropped to Series 4 here would be White Widow. And simply because she's been out long enough, everyone knows what she does. It's kind of easy to avoid what she does. Just fill up the lane and you're good. But like I said, she's been out long enough. I think she's worthy of being dropped, and I think she should have been included for the people that don't quite have her yet and don't want to spend 6K tokens on her. Otherwise, everything else, like Wiccan, obviously Werewolf by Night is already being dropped. War Machine is fine. Victoria Hand is still very new. US Agent is a good card as well, and Toxin is a very recent card and is a good bounce piece. So I think the rest of these cards in this row are worthy of the Series 5 tag and should stay where they are. All right, with that being said, those are the drops. Is it enough? Maybe. I'm not exactly too sure yet. We'll see how it ends up playing out. Hopefully they do some things with card acquisition that make it easier to get the Series 5 cards. I think it'd be nice if they added a feature or a system rather to where you can earn the cards by playing the game. kind of like how you were in pools, 1 through 3. You were able to earn the cards from the collector's reserves. I think there should be a way that they reward the players by playing the game, by giving them series, like say for example a random series 4 or 5 card, non-duplicate of course, because duplicates are annoying and I hate that those are even a thing in the spotlight caches. I know that's wishful thinking. I'm very curious to see what they're going to come up with as far as card acquisition goes. Hopefully it's something that's feels good. It feels rewarding. Hopefully what they got cooking up is good. Hopefully Second Dinner's cooking up something good, and we can really be eating here soon. But I think this game is really good. I really like it. It's one of the only games I'm really super into right now. But with that being said, again, these are the drops. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you for tuning into this video. I love Marvel. I love gaming. Marvel Snap is a great game. In the meantime, thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.